A childless bus driver comes to the rescue of a pregnant woman who goes into labor on the bus. He switches routes to drive her to the hospital, never imagining how she would transform his life 2 years later. Bill loved children and always carried a small candy box during his shift every day. He was a bus driver and loved treating the kids who rode on his bus to some goodies. Being around naughty and chirpy little kids comforted Bill. It eased his sorrow and helped him forget he was childless. His wife Julia couldn't conceive due to some health issues. Bill's world was very small. It was just him, his wife, and their dog Coco. He became the solid support Julia needed to overcome her grief. "God's watching over us and he'll surely answer our prayers one day," he often told her. One day Bill was busy driving when he heard chaos on the bus. Suddenly a man came running to him and said, "Driver, there's a pregnant woman on the bus. I think she's in labor. Please do something." Bill was alarmed and realized he had no time to waste. He turned around and saw only 5 or 6 passengers on board. He stepped on the gas and drove as fast as he could. The nearest hospital was 5 stops away and the time was running out. Bill had previously worked as a taxi driver, so he knew most of the shortcuts. Moreover, getting to the hospital would take half an hour on a direct route and the woman was in terrible pain. "Hold on, miss, we'll get there on time. Please hold on," he shouted from the front. Bill thought his passengers would understand it was an emergency, so he switched routes and sped up, arriving at the hospital in 10 minutes. "Jesus, thank you so much," he gasped as the lady was taken inside. She panted and puffed in pain as she lay on the stretcher. Bill was about to get onto the bus and leave when a nurse shouted to him, "Excuse me, sir, she said she left her bag on there." Bill quickly retrieved the lady's handbag and gave it to the nurse before taking off with the other passengers. The whole day, Bill was worried about the woman. He was glad he helped her get to the hospital on time, but he wanted to make sure she and her baby were all right. He decided to visit her a week later. "Are you gonna visit that woman today?" Julie asked Bill as he left home from work. He had told her everything about the encounter a week ago. "Please don't go empty-handed. Buy something nice for the newborn." Bill kissed his wife and left. At the end of his shift, he went to the hospital to visit the woman. He learned her name was Sophia, but she was no longer at the hospital. "She left yesterday with a baby," the nurse informed Bill. He was pretty disappointed. He bought a onesie and a warm blanket for the newborn. "Do you have her address?" he asked. "1 minute." Bill took Sophia's address and went to meet her. As he neared, he found out that the address was a shelter for the homeless. "She lives here?" he wondered. He hurried inside to meet Sophia and her baby, but came out disheartened. It turned out that she'd moved out that morning and nobody knew where she'd gone. Bill returned home disappointed. "Should have visited her sooner. It's my mistake," he grumbled. "Darling, it's okay. Maybe somebody came for her. Let's hope she and her baby are fine now," Julia comforted him. Eventually, the couple forgot about Sophia and her baby. Everything returned to normal until one day 2 years later, Bill noticed something unusual as he got on the bus. He saw a woman fidgeting with a heart-shaped locket and was drawn to Sophia's picture in it. "Do you know this woman? Is her name Sophia?" he asked the lady. "Yes, but how do you know Sophia?" the woman asked Bill as he grabbed the locket and stared closely at the picture. "I can never forget that face. I still remember how she screamed in pain that day. How is she? I hope she and her baby are doing well." Bill saw the woman turn pale as tears slowly rose in her eyes. He was unprepared for the heartbreaking revelation about Sophia and her baby. "I'm Kathy. I work in a shelter for orphan kids," the woman said. "The locket belongs to Sophia's mother, Crystal. It's her birthday tomorrow, and this is her only memory of her late mother." "Late mother?" Bill was alarmed. "Yes, Sophia died last year of a terminal illness. She'd lost her husband and their house in a little flood. She was pregnant and lived in the homeless shelter for a few months after that. Before she died, she gave her baby up for adoption. Crystal's been in the shelter ever since, and we haven't found a good family for her yet." Bill couldn't believe his ears. Later that evening, he and Julia visited the shelter and found little Crystal with her nanny. "She's adorable!" exclaimed Julia, tears of joy sparkling in her eyes. It was as if the darkness in their lives was finally lit up with happiness. They bought Crystal some new toys and new clothes, and these are the first birthday presents she'd received since her birth. 6 months later, Bill and Julia adopted Crystal, and since then, the couple always has new wholesome reasons to laugh and feel blessed. They no longer regretted being childless and started celebrating their lives with their adopted daughter. "I told you, God watches over his children and always answers our prayers unexpectedly," said Bill as he cradled his little bundle of joy in his arms.